Picture the world where the asteroid missed. Feathers everywhere, roaring giants patrolling coastlines that have never felt a human footprint. Forests still ruled by teeth the size of your arm. No cities, no campfires, no one, anywhere, imagining what might have happened instead. Because if the dinosaurs never went extinct, there is no you standing here to ask the question. That's not a metaphor. It's a fact with a paper trail. So what actually had to happen 66 million years ago just so you could exist? For most of the 20th century, nobody really knew. Slow climate change, disease, angry volcanoes. Every theory had believers, and none of them had proof. It comes down to one afternoon, one rock, and a strangely unlucky patch of ocean floor. In 1980, a geologist named Walter Alvarez and his father, physicist Luis Alvarez, found something strange buried in a thin layer of clay in Italy: iridium, a metal that's almost non-existent on Earth's surface, but common in asteroids. The layer sat exactly at the point where dinosaur fossils stop appearing in the rock record. Their claim was radical. Something from space had hit Earth, and it had killed the dinosaurs. For a decade, nobody could find the crater. Then, buried under the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, scientists found it. Chicxulub, a scar in the Earth's crust roughly 150 kilometers wide, made by a rock about 10 kilometers across, moving faster than a rifle bullet. The blast and the heat that followed set fire to forests across an entire continent. But here's the detail that decides whether you exist at all. The asteroid didn't just hit ordinary rock. It hit ground packed with hydrocarbons and sulfur, similar to what modern oil fields sit on. Researchers Kunio Kaiho and Naga Oshima modeled what happens when rock like that vaporizes. It doesn't just burn. It loads the upper atmosphere with soot and sulfate, blocking sunlight for years and dragging global temperatures down far enough to collapse food chains. Here's the twist their models revealed. That kind of hydrocarbon-rich rock covers only a small sliver of Earth's surface. Run the same asteroid into most other coastlines on the planet, and their calculations suggest the soot cloud would have been thinner, the cooling milder, the extinction far less total. Not every researcher agrees on the exact mechanism. Some argue sulfur mattered more than soot. But the core finding holds up. Where the rock landed mattered enormously to what happened next. Hit almost anywhere else on the planet, and the fires still would have burned. The winter still would have come, just weaker. Survivable, maybe, for something the size of a school bus. The dinosaurs might still be out there right now, ruling forests that would never belong to anyone else. And you wouldn't be. Because the story doesn't end with the impact. It starts there. Paleontologist Tyler Lyson spent years digging through a dry stretch of Colorado called Corral Bluffs, mostly finding nothing. Then a colleague mentioned an old trick learned from researchers overseas. Stop hunting for bone, start hunting for oddly rounded rocks called concretions. Lyson cracked one open. A mammal's skull stared back at him from both halves of the stone. That single afternoon changed everything. Suddenly the ground was full of them. Thousands of fossils. And for the first time, a timeline. 100,000 years after the extinction, the largest mammals were about the size of a raccoon. By 300,000 years, beaver-sized. By 700,000 years, some weighed over 100 pounds. That's roughly a 100-fold increase in body size. Mammals had never grown that fast before. They wouldn't grow that fast again for another 30 million years. For as long as the dinosaurs ruled, mammals had barely been allowed to be mammals. Every one of them, without exception, stayed small, fast, and active, mostly at night. Scientists call this the nocturnal bottleneck, forced into darkness to avoid becoming something's lunch. That bottleneck reshaped mammal eyes, and the reshaping never fully reversed. Most mammals alive today, including your dog and your cat, have weaker color vision than plenty of lizards. It isn't an accident. It's a hand-me-down from 100 million years of hiding. You are one of the rare exceptions. Your ancestors, the earliest primates, kept large, forward-facing eyes even while staying nocturnal. Once the dinosaurs were gone, they were among the first mammals to walk back out into daylight and rebuild color vision almost from scratch. Which brings back the open question. When did your ancestors actually begin? In Montana, a small tree-dwelling animal called Purgatorius left its teeth behind in rock dated to within roughly 130,000 years after the extinction. Barely a blink, geologically speaking. Researcher Gregory Wilson Mantilla and his team identified it as one of the earliest known relatives on the branch of the family tree that eventually leads to every primate alive, including you. 130,000 years. That's how close the story came to never including a you at all. So here's the honest answer, the one the evidence actually supports. It isn't that mammals were destined to rise, or that evolution was steering towards something like a human. Shift the coordinates of one impact, and the age of dinosaurs most likely continues. Mammals stay small, stay hidden, stay nocturnal, maybe for another 66 million years. There's no guarantee anything resembling a primate ever gets the opening it needed. You don't exist because life was moving toward you. You exist because a large rock hit an unusually unlucky stretch of ocean floor, and every domino after that happened to fall the right way. Which might explain something you still carry, right now, in the dark. That flicker of unease in a pitch-black room, the instinct to want a light on before you can fully relax. That isn't weakness, it's memory. 100 million years of your ancestors' history encoded in a nervous system that still isn't fully convinced the dark is safe. The dinosaurs didn't go extinct so that you could exist, but if they hadn't, you wouldn't. There's no jungle full of feathers waiting outside your window. There's just you, here, now. Because 66 million years ago, on one specific afternoon, they lost. And the next question worth asking is what almost didn't survive that same afternoon? The tiny animal that became every primate on Earth, and just how close its entire line came to ending before it ever really began.